Here's a bold prediction. You're going to love this episode. Maybe. I don't know.
I was going to say, is that bold? I would hope it's not that bold.
I thought of Shooter McGavin. Here's a free lesson. Like, I don't have the vibe. Here's a bold prediction.
Damn you people. This is Star Wars, not a rock concert. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Resistance Broadcast. My name is John. Her name is Lacey. His name is James. We are the three that you are used to seeing here. And it's Thursday, so it's discussion time. Switching gears a little bit, doing something we don't do that often, which is less in the serious sense of speculation. We're doing more of the take your shot and have some fun with some wacky, bold predictions on what might happen in the next show coming up, which is the Book of Boba Fett. We are now in August, which means that show is just 4 months away, folks. That means a trailer could be down the line later this month, maybe. Who knows? So we figured before we see any footage from this show, let's take our shot, have a silly good time talking about predicting weird things that might happen in a show about a very weird Star Wars character known as Boba Fett. So we're going to do that a bit later. But like I said, Lacey and James are here with me as always. So what's going on? Before we started recording, we talked about conspiracy theories about ice cream machines at fast food restaurants.
I know one of you guys have seen that video. It's a big popular YouTube video.
Right now, someone's saying, yes! Yeah. But I will agree with Lacey, who said she was able to get a McFlurry, as was I. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe
what kind do you get?
Do the Oreo.
Of course. Okay. Yeah. Just making sure that you're legit or not.
If they had Twix, I would have done Twix, but I don't think they did. I think my two options were mini M&Ms or Oreo, and I was like, yeah, I had to go with the Oreo.
Yeah, it's like you're looking at the menu and you're like, who orders Heath Bar? Get out of here. Like, what is that? How's that even an option?
Someone in the comments is like, I love Heath Bar.
Yeah.
Some guy named Heath is like, my dad named me after that candy bar, and I'm not listening to your podcast anymore.
He's like, I was going to sponsor you guys as I am heir to the Heath legacy. It's like his company.
We talk about Star Wars in this podcast, too. And we have a little segment we like to call Will of the Force. It is back, baby. I apologize. I'm a little under the weather. I'm having a Michael Jordan flu game part 2 here. Still going strong, 5-day cold. But it's okay because I have a physical tomorrow. So that's the perfect time to be sick. Very good. But what gets me in a good mood is Star Wars. So James, we have Will of the Force. Let's fire up some good times here.
I fear nothing, for all this, as the Force wills it.
Will of the Force is brought to you by our patrons. And if you want to be one of the supporters, if you love the podcast, you should head over to patreon.com and support TRB. Go to the website, patreon.com/resistance broadcast. Look at the different tiers. They start at $2 a month. That's pretty easy. And it not only helps us grow and keep doing the things that we're doing.
Less than a McFlurry.
Yeah.
That's true.
It keeps us doing the podcast that is twice a week, in addition to all those other videos that we put up, including, all the stuff with the Patreon. That's streams, that's all these other Q&A stuff that we do. So there's the three of us, and we would all three like to thank you so much for your support. We appreciate everything you do. If you do happen to choose the tier that it starts at $5 and you want to submit a question to this very topic, you can do that. Will of the Force takes Patreon submission questions, and we're going to start off this week with one from Danny at Semper Fi Danny. Danny wanted to know, will Obi-Wan Kenobi be the extent of the backstory we get about Leia in live action? Lacey, what do you think?
I want to throw an asterisk on this and say for now, because I think for now it will be the extent of the backstory, because we've talked about this before about Leia in particular, and the handling of her with the Rise of Skywalker was like perfectly done, and people were very happy with it regardless of what they thought about the rest of the movie. So I think they're just kind of lean away from that character for now. That's why I'm going to say for now. So yes,
for
it
now.
will.
So you, I can't be with you now or yet. What is that?
I don't know.
John knows what it is. I can't think of it though.
How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, I know, but what she actually says, is it now?
I can't be with you right now.
Right now, yeah.
So
that's what it is.
like leaving the person with a little sense of hope.
Yeah. What is your thought? What's your sense of hope when it comes to Leia?
Gives me
and Kenobi.
bad memories of high school. But anyway. Leia, yeah, I think so. I think that will be the extent. I don't know that there's a need to fill every year in a character's life. Like I think when we met Han, I think it was a perfect time, late teens, when he begins his rebellious ways. I think that's perfect. I don't need to see what an 8-year-old Han Solo's doing. I don't need to see what an 8-year-old Leia's doing. Probably not a lot, to be honest, and neither's Luke. But we're probably going to see Luke because of the fact that Obi-Wan has to look over him. Luke doesn't know what's going on. Obi-Wan does. So we're going to be looking at it from his prism. We're not going to be spending too much time with Luke, but it would be, if you're going to have Owen and Beru, you're obviously going to have Luke in the show. So eventually we're going to see a scoop. Someone's going to come out and say they have an exclusive that young Luke's going to be in the show, and it's just going to be another one of those like obvious guesses. Leia, we may see. Who knows? Maybe we get Jimmy Smits back and we do a little Bail Organa. It would be cool to go to Alderaan again. We saw it briefly in Revenge of the Sith. Looked like a gorgeous planet. I met with modern CG. They could probably make a beautiful tapestry of that planet there. And seeing that character would be cool again, because as we saw at the end of Rogue One, he was talking about how there's an old Jedi that he knows, and he's gonna trust my daughter with my life. He's still kept in contact with Obi-Wan over the years, so it would be cool to maybe see him, and then in that instance maybe you see a little Leia in the background or something, and hopefully not too on the nose where she's wearing a white gown with hair buns.
She will be.
Yeah, you're right. But we get the idea that was Leia or something. Maybe something quick like that. So I agree. That will be the extent. Sorry, a little long-winded there.
No, I think that's exactly it. Just like how we talked about Jyn Erso recently, it actually doesn't really matter to a lot of fans what was going on before that character holds their age where they can start to be on their own. Jyn Erso was the age where things started to matter. Before that, 8 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old, she's only important because she's a side character to Saw Gerrera, the one who is making these big moves and going on these adventures and stuff. Right now, at the age Leia is, yes, she's connected to the rebellion and stuff, but she's only the daughter of the person who's really making things go on. And so if you were going to do a show that had a young Leia in it, it would be a Bail Organa show. That would be your title character. It wouldn't be young Leia, as she's going on these adventures or whatever. I just don't see that being a thing. If you're going to do a teen or like a children's show, that is like a live action, but it's like adventure kind of thing, they'll probably just create a new character for that. I can't imagine that they would make it Leia, or Luke, you know what I mean? That just seems weird. Luke and Leia at this point are ancillary characters to Bail Organa and Obi-Wan Kenobi. They're just there. They don't get interesting until they're 19.
Right.
I think we're all on the same page on that one. That was cool. All right, I got another one here. Will Rogue Squadron have traditional Star Wars? Will it have a traditional Star Wars score, or be more abstract like The Mandalorian was? John, I'm jumping back at you first on this one. What are your thoughts on the score for Rogue Squadron? Rogue Squadron.
That's tough because, like, I'm thinking about like what Patty Jenkins did with Wonder Woman, and she did a little bit of a balance with pop culture and also the score, implementing the theme by Hans Zimmer for Wonder Woman that he created for Batman vs Superman. and stuff like that. I think they also ripped off that song from, what was that movie we were talking about? Sunshine. Yeah. Right.
I takes me right out of a movie. I was so bummed.
Yeah.
I was like, you can't put this song in a movie and me not roll my eyes at it. Yeah. This is their big hero moment, and I'm like, get out of here.
I know. So I think they'll go the traditional route just because I feel like Rogue Squadron is just like an old school Star Wars staple, and you're gonna have a new cast of characters and new faces and stuff in those X-Wings, but there's something about seeing X-Wings flying to traditional Star Wars music, like when they're flying over the lake at Takodana and you hear the March of the Resistance, or when they're about to attack the Death Star, it's like da-da-da-da-da-da. There's something about X-Wings and traditional Star Wars that I think go hand in hand, and I think they get that, and they probably don't want to twist that up too much, so I'm going traditional.
That's actually weird. I didn't take the question like that, but Lacey, what do you got?
I agree with John. I think they will have a traditional Star Wars score for this movie because it is a Star Wars movie, because that's what we've seen for other Star Wars movies, is they've done something like with Solo and Rogue One. It was very Star Wars-y sounding, and they even attempted to make it sound like John Williams to an extent. I think The Mandalorian's a little different because it's TV, so they can get away with a little bit more of a different soundtrack, which I love. But I think for movies, if you look at any movie, whether it be a superhero movie or, sci-fi, fantasy, whatever, they all have that big cinematic adventure sound. And I think that people are going to expect that with a Star Wars movie, and that's why that's what we're going to get.
Yeah, I'm maybe I misunderstood John, but I'm totally with Lacey on that one, because I think that's the traditional Star Wars, is just like, it's a movie score. It's a movie, so it's going to have a movie score.
To be honest. Yeah.
I mean, that would be cool. But the Mandalorian...
What did I confuse you about?
Because like, is it going to be more like the original trilogy, or more different, like, say, Rogue One or how Solo was different? I thought that kind of how... and they were using Mandalorian as the example, but... me and Lacey were kind of looking at it as film versus television.
Oh, And I just took it as I consider Rogue One and Solo to be traditional Star Wars scores.
Me too.
Yeah, okay. All right. So maybe we are on the same page. To me, the Mandalorian score is kind of interesting because they have their theme, and it's kind of in these things, but a lot of it is just background stuff, and there's episodes that are released as their own EPs. I don't know, it's weird. It's weird how they did that. And there's a lot of these weird sound effects and stuff that they do that are, I don't know, it's just different. I'm not the biggest fan of the stuff that the music for The Mandalorian. I love Rogue One, and I love the traditional John Williams stuff, and I love the Solo soundtrack. I think that stuff's great. Mandalorian is exactly what you're saying. It's abstract, it's weird, it's different. It's fine, and I guess I don't mind it to that degree, but I almost just kind of wish like season 1 had its music, and instead it's like episode to episode. I don't know, it's kind of strange, but I'm definitely in the it's gonna have that traditional score. I know that Alphabet Squadron, they used generic music, like royalty-free music for the audiobook, but they used it for all 3 books, and I was like, I love this song, how can I get it? And they wrote me back, and they're like, it's just generic music or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but now to me, that's the theme of Alphabet Squadron, and I love it. I want to hear that song or have that song. Yeah. We got another Patreon submission here. One of our patrons, Admiral Matt Chitty, wanted to know, will the Skywalker saga be expanded to include current and future material that closely ties to the story, similar to Marvel's Infinity Saga, for example, Rogue One and Obi-Wan Kenobi, allowing for an overall story arc? So the idea here being that all of those stories kind of become the Skywalker saga, or do you think it's going to be separate and do like, well, this is the Mandoverse and this is the other things like that? So, Lacey, what do you think on this one? How do you think they're going to, down the line, like split it up or put it all together?
I think that Star Wars is attempting right now to build this overarching connecting story within the Skywalker saga, which is from The Phantom Menace to The Rise of Skywalker. I think during that time, anything that happens that in that time frame is somehow tied to the Skywalker saga. I think once you go before Phantom Menace or go after Rise of Skywalker, that's when you get into a different timeline. I use it loosely, but a different story because that's been completed. And I think that's what they were establishing with the Skywalker saga. Similarly to Marvel's Infinity Saga, they're saying once Endgame happened, everything's changed and we're now setting a course to different stories that take place after the fact. So it's just breaking up the timeline. And I think that for now, where everything is with Star Wars, especially Obi-Wan and Andor and The Mandalorian, it falls within the Skywalker saga because all those things kind of branch off, like we see in Loki with all the little branches of that main Skywalker story.
John, do you think the same?
I do, in the sense that, when Disney bought Star Wars, they were buying what people knew. And, a part of an IP is familiarity. And it's Darth Vader. It's Luke Skywalker. It's all those things that make people feel warm and fuzzy and want to go see your movies, go to your theme parks, all that stuff. With that, they can expand on things and do stuff like the High Republic, the Acolyte, tell other stories that are going to probably happen after Episode 9, but also do things that take place within that era and that are tied to the Skywalker. So I do agree in that sense, and that's why I do think something like a solo series makes sense. You still need to stay familiar in some regards of your storytelling to things that people grew up on and what made people love Star Wars, while also doing new things. And you could do those things both at the same time. So if that's what Matt means, I do think that they are going to expand upon the Skywalker saga in that way, without necessarily having to do try to do an episode 10 or something, because that time is gone, because Luke's gone, Han's gone, Leia's gone, and the actors are old or sadly deceased. So the way you do that is, younger versions, Han Solo, maybe side stories that kind of fall into play, a Boba Fett thing that they're doing. There's ways to do it, and they are doing it. So, and they're going to do new stuff as well. So I think without a doubt they're going to continue to do that, which will enrich that saga.
I don't know, maybe I look at this a little bit differently, but to me, I think the way Lucasfilm is handling it is, no, the Skywalker saga is episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. That's it. And while everything connects and it's all canon, all these other things are different. They aren't part of our Infinity Saga that is this story. To me, Marvel has done something that is completely different from Star Wars because they're doing it in order and timeline, and they can, at which point, end an era and say, okay, now we've entered into this next section that is now something different. And Star Wars is not going to do that. They are going to continue to tell stories before, during, and after what they deem as the Skywalker saga. And if that is getting its own name, that it implies that all these other things are in fact different things. So things after 9, before the Skywalker saga can be something that they can play in. And everything isn't going to tie into that property in and of itself. Especially when it comes to something like Mando. Mando obviously does connect to Star Wars as a whole, but you wrote it, Mandoverse. I've been saying that too. Mandoverse to me is this like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni pocket. The High Republic is the same thing. It's like this pocket of stories that isn't really part of the Skywalker saga in my head. It's part of the Din Djarin saga. It's part of his story. It's something separate. It connects, characters cross over, but to me, Mandalorian and Ahsoka and not Rangers of the New Republic, they might not be doing that anymore, but some of these other shows, Book of Boba Fett, that all that to me is something that isn't the Skywalker saga. I don't know. That's just kind of how I'm looking at it. Solo
so
too.
Infinity
Obi-Wan?
Saga, just so because I was curious, is from Iron Man up to Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yep.
Is the Infinity Saga.
Which is weird. It's not Endgame. Far From Home come out after.
Is the end.
And they mark that as the point at which it ends. And anytime Marvel does something, like I said, where I started this, they do it in timeline order. The next movie that comes out takes place after the previous one. And that doesn't, I mean, it happens in Star Wars, but it doesn't, that's not really where they're going with all these shows and books and comics and everything. It just kind of scatters all about.
Right.
Only time they ever take place out of the timeline is to do like a Captain Marvel. They take you back to the 90s to kind of explain something. But then the next time you see Captain Marvel, boom, she's back in that growing timeline of shows, you know? So I don't know. That's my take on it. I think the Skywalker saga is just the episodes, the movies, and that is it. We got one more question, which is actually going to lead a little bit into our discussion. Will the Book of Boba Fett have more or less than 3 surprise appearances by familiar characters that haven't appeared yet in The Mandalorian? John, you're going first on this one. What do you think? 3. Over, under.
I'm going to say less.
Less.
I think it'll be 2, and I'm not sure who, but I'm gonna say 2. So I'm gonna say less.
All right, 2. 2's the number to beat, Lacey. What do you think?
I think
it's like
that
the Ellen show where it's like, can you beat? I dare you. Do you dare 3?
Or like name that tune?
3? Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
I think the Book of Boba Fett will have more than 3 surprise appearances. I think if you just look at bounty hunters alone, that's like a chunk of people they could bring in that haven't appeared in The Mandalorian. I think there's plenty of people that are tied to Boba Fett that you've seen in either toys or comics or whatever that don't even have to talk. They could just be standing there. So yeah, easily more than 3.
I am going to do Boba Fett dirty here and say that I think his story doesn't hold up very well unless you do all these cameos and surprise appearances. I almost feel like they have something special with Mandalorian, and they're like, oh, we created this character Din Djarin, he's gonna have this great story, we got him. Also, side note, Boba Fett is just gonna be that fan service show. Like that's our time to go crazy. That's our boss, our drink. You're exactly right. The bounty hunters. That's our time to show off all these fun characters and really go buck wild on these cameos and fun things that we can do with that show. And that's just going to be this big, happy fan favorite. I loved that thing. It was only, 6 episodes or 8 episodes or something like that. And then it's done, maybe. I don't know. But
you know what I'd call that?
I think it's going to be cameo heavy.
You know what I'd call that, James? A bold prediction.
A bold prediction.
Wow, how about that?
Bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it
Let's
pays
see
off.
if it pays off for him.
That's actually it for Will of the Force. We can get into our discussion then, John. That you already said what we're talking about this week, but I'll ask again. What are we talking about this week?
Obi-Wan once thought as you do.
Well, James, bold predictions for the Book of Boba Fett. So, yeah, a lot of times on this show, we like to do speculation where we try to really give realistic guesses on what we think is going to happen based on our knowledge, based on patterns, based on familiarity with directors and actors and things we've even heard from people. All down the line, as I like to say. And today, we're going to do it a little different, where we're going to get maybe a little wilder, maybe a little crazier, and do some bold predicting on things that would be pretty crazy if these predictions came true. We haven't discussed this ahead of time. We may cross some streams here, as Egon Spengler once said, but let's have some fun doing this. I don't know who wants to go first. I've kind of been putting together a little bit of a list myself.
I'll go.
I have a few. Yeah, Lacey, go ahead. What do you got?
My bold
Let's see how bold you
prediction
are.
for the Book of Boba Fett is that Fennec Shand will die before the end of it.
Is that
I think
season 1?
Well, I'm going based on that there's only one season.
Okay.
So, being that
Bold
there's
prediction.
only one season.
season.
I think she's going to die. I think she's a character that everybody loved from the moment you kind of met her in The Mandalorian and everyone thought she was dead, except me. But I think that she's a character that could grow close to Boba Fett, and it would be very emotional for him if he then once again lost the closest person to him. Mm-hmm. And like, even if she died in a similar way, like that'd be nuts. Like getting her head chopped off or something crazy. But I think that's an easy, of an easy thing to do.
Do you think Boba Fett's going to kill her?
No, I think someone else will to get back at him, or she'll sacrifice herself or something like that. But I think she's going to die. And I hate to say that because I love Ming-Na Wen and I love the character, but I think that's the only thing right now that's going to draw any issues out of Boba Fett. Because right now he's kind of just like, whatever, my life is awesome. I'm ruling everything and nothing can get to me. Like, it's kind of like Harold and Kumar at the beginning of the movie where they're like, I'm so high, nothing can hurt me. And the guy's got the, no.
Oh,
like
right.
That.
Yeah.
So it's like that with Fennec Shand.
Yeah.
See, and that's a bold prediction because to me, just based on the trailer, the little teaser we got,
sure,
I'm looking at these two characters like Han and Chewie. And it's like, we all love Chewie, but my bold prediction is they're going to kill that Wookiee, and that's going to make Han all upset or whatever.
Right,
but it's like, I don't think that's the case. For my money, I think Fennec Shand is
Filoni
here
likes to hurt us,
stay.
though. Remember that. Filoni likes us to hurt.
It's true. Yeah, I think Fennec is here to stay, so I do kind of think that it's bold that you are basically taking the other title character and killing her off in the first season. John, you got something?
All right, so I'm gonna rebut that with a bold prediction. I think Fennec Shand is gonna betray Boba Fett, but he's gonna predict the betrayal, and she's gonna fall into his trap, and he's gonna throw her into the Sarlacc pit.
Oh, is that why you said is he gonna kill her? And I was like, I don't know about that, but
she's gonna like betray him. He's gonna know about it ahead of time and be 2 steps ahead of her and dump her into the Sarlacc.
I thought the Sarlacc was dead though.
There's others. There's more than one.
Oh, so your bold prediction is not only is she gonna betray him, he's gonna kill her, and the way he's gonna kill her is a Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
It's pretty bold.
That's what we're doing. I have other really weird ones. We're about to get nutty here.
The betrayal thing, sure. The killing thing, I agree with you there. The Sarlacc is where I'm like, would they go that far? Would they go that far to be like,
is prediction. Yeah, they've already had their discussion on how they've been dead before and they were brought back to life, or they've had their second chance. And I don't think Boba Fett at this point of life throws anybody in a Sarlacc pit because he knows didn't kill him.
Yeah, true. Maybe he kills her and then just dumps her body in there.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things we talk about on the show that I'm like, I'd be okay if this happened. I think I would hate that. I think I would really hate that.
What have I been saying? I want Boba Fett to be a bad person. I think if they were like,
oh, here's a Sarlacc pit, I'd be like, oh, come on. Really? Come on.
That's a very Filoni thing to do, though.
I hate it. Right. And that happened in the span of 15 seconds of us talking about it.
I'm not here to do realistic stuff. I'm here to get weird.
All right. Well, we'll consider this a bold prediction, and I don't know. Maybe it's a little more obvious to one, but let's say this show is going to feature Omega, and Bad Batch is a setup for this character showing up.
To me, that's
the show
bold
revolves
because
around Boba Fett and his family and his connection, and the whole animated series only exists to promote this show.
That's bold to me because
that's kind of bold.
You have to assume that people that don't watch The Bad Batch know who she is.
Mm-hmm. Not necessarily though, because you can introduce a character in a movie for the first time. just because a character has backstory doesn't mean we saw Saw Gerrera in Rogue One. You didn't have to know that he was in the Clone Wars. You just got introduced to the character right there.
So your bold prediction is, how far does the Filoni verse go?
My bold prediction is that Bad Batch made Omega Boba Fett's sister for a reason.
Yeah, the long game.
And it's not even the long game. It's like 5 months from now.
Yeah.
When the live action Boba Fett show comes out.
I meant because they made the animation first, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the boldest part of your prediction is that they made the Bad Batch just to set up the Book of Boba Fett.
That is bold.
I mean, here's the thing, is if the Book of Boba Fett has Omega in it, you start to wonder, if that wasn't the idea, would they have done Bad Batch?
All right. That's cool. Yeah.
Omega's like, I was only created for you, Filoni.
Yeah. But I think when she got confirmed to be more of a sister, or more of a daughter to Jango Fett than any of the other clones, and there's only one other one out there, somebody who goes by the name Boba, that to me was a bigger reveal that I don't think people are really talking about. And it just made me really speculate that has something to do with this show, considering Fennec Shand, and she's trying to be a mentor. She has this connection with Omega. Fennec Shand is in Book of Boba Fett. It just seems like it's very connected.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. I like that. Lacey, you have others?
I kind of. Okay. My bold prediction is that in the Book of Boba Fett, Luke Skywalker will once again walk into Jabba's palace at some point.
That's pretty bold. To
confront either Boba Fett or someone else, being like, I thought I'd shut this place down. What?
That is bold. That'd be very fan servicey.
He would have Grogu with him too.
That's a good point.
That's true.
He would.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right. James, what do you think about that?
And he would be there to confront Boba Fett. It would be like a rematch kind of thing.
Yeah, because he's the one that threw him into there. Well, Han Solo did technically, but yeah, kind of.
Yeah, but it was definitely something that I put the pieces together recently. When Luke Skywalker shows up at the end of Mandalorian, Boba Fett is conveniently not in the room. Had Boba Fett been in the room, they would have been like...
Everyone was like, yeah, no.
Yeah, they would have been like... They would have recognized each other. This is the guy that killed Jabba the Hutt, and I got thrown in the pit.
He just turns to Fennec. He's like, hold my gun.
Because this guy had to go and blow the whole place up and wouldn't get just killed or whatever. Yeah, I feel like Boba Fett and Luke might actually have like some beef. But bold prediction on him showing up to be like an enemy for Boba in this case.
Because there's so many things that tie into that, especially if you bring Omega in. Then Luke's kind of like, how many clones are there out there? Like, what's going on?
Wow. All right. I like that. All right. My next bold prediction is that Antonio Banderas will have a gunslinging role in the Book of Boba Fett.
What? Why?
Is it weird that I brought up Antonio Banderas on Monday? Randomly? I tried to think of an actor and I'm like, I don't know, Antonio Banderas in a movie.
He worked with Robert Rodriguez on the Mariachi trilogy. And
you're saying as DJ?
No, as just a gunslinger. Like just some...
Am I confusing actors?
Yes.
I am.
Yeah, Benicio del Toro,
yeah. As DJ, and I'm like...
Antonio Banderas as DJ.
The funny thing is you said that name, but I pictured him. That's why.
Yeah.
That is bold of me.
Hey, bold prediction. Benicio del Toro back as DJ.
You're walking into Jabba's palace. Yeah. Everyone's just walking into Jabba's palace.
They de-age him.
That little tattletale droid's just busy all day checking people's IDs at the door.
How old would he be at this point? He'd be about 20 years younger, a 20-year-old DJ.
Right.
It's possible.
Anyway, Go ahead, John.
That's it. And he'll be in the show.
Yep. So it's just because he has a connection to Robert Rodriguez?
Yeah.
You could say that about
Alita Battle Angel.
Well, I was gonna say who's the machete guy?
Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo.
Oh yeah, Danny Trejo.
Danny
he's gonna play
Trejo.
he's gonna be in it. He's gonna play an alien.
I could see him.
I think we're gonna see someone die every episode of this show.
Yeah, I think so.
Every single episode, someone's gonna die.
Salma Hayek's gonna play a Twi'lek. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh.
Dude, who has to dance for Boba Fett at Jabba's palace?
Yeah, that's interesting.
James, do you have more?
Do I have more?
I have two more ridiculous ones. Well, one's like insane.
So I think one of us talked like before the show, and I think this is kind of a joke, but I think it's still possible. Jabba the Hutt shows up in this show. Now,
Flashback?
the first imply is that he's dead at this
Force
point.
Ghost?
Do
Hutts
have skeletons? Or is he?
They do.
Oh, they do?
They do.
So there's bones of Jabba somewhere?
They probably
I think
blew up,
someone
right?
asked that question at some point, and there was
probably
an
did blow up.
illustration from like some reference book a long time ago. They do have some type of like not exoskeleton. Like,
Oh, that's right, because he has fingers.
Yeah.
He has yeah.
oh.
But no, saying that Boba Fett not Boba Fett, Jabba the Hutt could be in the show as a flashback, considering that would be big fan service, and you know that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau would love to be able to pull that one off. If they could get that classic Boba with Jabba the Hutt in the room. We already have seen Bib Fortuna. They could probably, we saw how he died, but it would be fun. They did up the makeup. They put Matthew Wood back in the costume. So having this scene where they flash back and kind of give a little bit of a story, which they've already kind of said we're gonna see what happened. We're gonna see how these things went down. And maybe a little bit of recreation, like maybe they'll show a couple scenes from Return of the Jedi, but Loki did this. They showed a couple scenes from Avengers, but they added in these other angles and close-ups of new characters and things. So maybe we see some stuff from Return of the Jedi, but then they show us different angles of the characters and things like that.
It better be a puppet. That's all I gotta say.
Jabba
Don't half-ass it. It better be a puppet.
John, you're muted.
Save the puppet for something else. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, if they make the puppet, then the chance is better.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's hard to say, because then you start to wonder, well, we already did that. We did that for Book of Boba Fett, all the flashiness of Jabba showing up in a trailer.
But he could make a comment.
Why you should subscribe to Disney Plus. It's kind of overdone.
But he could make a comment like, oh, that's a job. Solo's on that job right now.
All right. Bolder prediction.
Here we go.
Alden's in the scene.
Oh,
that is bold.
That would be a little wild, I think.
And they're like, all right, guys, now stop with the hashtag. Like,
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, maybe the flashback goes real far back.
Jeez. That did get bolder.
Yeah. That's crazy bold.
Lacey, you have anything else?
I want to hear your crazy ones. You
I
set
want to
this
hear
up
this funny
now.
one.
Well, the funny one is we're going to see Boba Fett eating.
Eating?
Yeah.
Why is that a bold prediction?
Because we've never seen Boba Fett eat. We don't know if he's like...
How many characters have we seen eat?
That's what I mean. We've seen Luke eat. We've seen Han eat. We've seen Chewie eat. I don't know if we've seen Leia eat. We've seen a lot of the main characters eat in Star Wars.
Have we seen Luke eat?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he eats his little pack on
his little
Dagobah.
snack.
He doesn't. He starts to look at it and then realizes Yoda
No, he takes
touched
a
it
bite
and
because
threw it.
right before he sees Yoda, he's chewing and he's talking with his mouth full.
I always thought he like sniffed it and was like, you know what? I'm done.
No, he's
I'm
like,
not eating this.
still something familiar about this place. He's like chewing on food.
Maybe. Okay.
His little like Snickers bar.
The other one was he like sips the soup, but I don't know if he even sniffs it as much as he smells it, and he's like, okay.
Yeah, I don't
whatever.
think he eats that.
Putting the thing down, ladle down.
We're wasting time.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, Boba Fett eating, and then I have one more, which is the big one, the big Kahuna.
All right,
Should
here
I save
we go.
that?
No, we're good. It might spawn off new ones for us.
All right. So by the end of the Book of Boba Fett will die. But the cliffhanger at the end of the series, we'll find out that he had a clone made of himself.
So a younger version of him exists somewhere? Wow. Okay, because then they can get rid of Tem, you're saying, and have a younger guy?
Or just like, when does this happen? When does stuff after episode 9 happen? Adult Boba Fett clone.
Oh, and then bring him back at the later, whatever it is, as just normal Tem again?
If you want to, I'm just saying.
Dude's going to continually be paid for the next 10 years.
I'm just saying because Django did it. Boba knew all about it. He grew up there. They're all about legacy. It wouldn't, and cloning was going on with the Mandalorian. He's around that area. It wouldn't shock me if Boba Fett wanted to preserve his legacy and have a clone made of himself. Boba Fett dies, Western style, Book of Boba Fett, and then there's a after credits thing where we find out that there's a clone made, like a little baby Boba Fett clone, and people are gonna lose their minds.
That is bananas.
It's a bold prediction.
That is bananas.
Is there any chance that the senior face recognizable deep fake guy would have anything to do with this in The Mandalorian?
What do you mean?
That's just that, you're getting ready to play in with a younger, like,
oh, got it.
Daniel Logan looking one that was the younger Boba Fett, kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot that could play into that too.
And
and he's working for ILM, which isn't like mainline or movie stories or anything like that. ILM obviously is involved in Mandalorian as well.
And look,
Right.
if you wanted to keep, the clone of Boba Fett going and you want to keep him in some sort of armor, you can have Morrison just voice it. There's other things you could do, but it's a insanely bold prediction. And that's it.
I don't think we could top that. That's the boldest of the bold.
No, I the whole series is about it's actually a racing show. It's like kind of NASCAR.
I joke, I said the whole series wasn't really real. It was just him giving stories in a cantina.
He's going for something here. There's some kind of pun coming up.
No, it wasn't. Just the whole series is actually more like a filler episode where it's just Boba Fett, like.
It's just a dream.
Yeah,
It's just a dream. Boba Fett wakes up. He's still in the Sarlacc pit. He's like, shit.
there's like another guy who looks just like Boba Fett, but he's a little bit different colored, but he's like his rival, and then they just have to they play jacks or something, to like.
And then it
win
ends
the
up
trophy.
he's actually just a clone of Palpatine all along.
If it was just a dream and Boba Fett wakes up inside the Sarlacc and like Rey does, he puts like marks on it for how long he's been there, and it's only been like 30 years out of 1,000. He's like, oh god, and it just ends.
Did it.
Boba Fett fans would be so pissed, and it'd be so worth it. Sorry, Todd.
It's all a dream.
Yeah.
How about the Book of Boba Fett is a literal book that he writes names in?
It's like a diary.
Oh, like the Chris Jericho list? Like he puts tabs on people?
Yeah, or like Death Note, or like
Steve Buscemi and Billy Madison.
Billy. That's what I was going for. I kept wanting to say Happy Gilmore, but I was like, that's not right. But no, he's literally got the book. It's a physical book, which is different from Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And he's actually got like the list where he like opens it up and he's crossing the names off. And
Could it be the blacklist, James?
That's what the blacklist. He's got like every
no one gets that. I've been
with,
watching the blacklist, guys. Side
every
note.
episode starts with the title.
Like the blacklist, and it says number 886, blah, blah, blah.
Or, well, instead of like chapter 1, it's page 1. And it's just, it's got like a name, like page 1, fake Star Wars name guy or whatever. And then the episode is about him tracking down that person and murdering him.
That's literally what the blacklist is.
You're like,
it's literally like this guy.
Crazy. Yeah. And then like the next episode comes and it's like page 2. And it has the name written down. And you're like, what? And you're like, they could do this forever, man. Because they never show the book. Or something, or they show it's like real thick, and we're all speculating.
Like, 8 seasons later.
Yeah, there you go. James Spader will be in the Book of Boba Fett. Book it. Book of
Imagine
Boba
he
Fett.
shows up. He's like, Boba Fett, nice to see you.
James Spader shows up as Ultron in the Book of Boba Fett.
Oh gosh, Ultron. Oh god.
Also, one more bold prediction. Don't be surprised if you see Robert Patrick show up in the Book of Boba Fett. T-1000 himself.
Really? Where's that connection?
My bold mind.
He doesn't it's bold. He doesn't need it.
Making up a name.
He was in Spy Kids.
Oh.
Robert Rodriguez film. But they do that a lot, that familiarity. So
sure. I think Danny Trejo has more of a chance.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for Favreau or Vince Vaughn to make his appearance in The Mandalorian as a bartender.
Or a wedding crasher.
That's gonna happen. There you go. So Bo-Katan and Din Djarin get married, and Vince Vaughn crashes it.
Mm-hmm.
To try to hook up with Casca Reeves. Boom. Bold prediction.
Or just forget that whole storyline altogether. It's just Vince Vaughn and Isla Fisher, and they're just like in a scene, like in the background.
Sacha Baron Cohen just plays Borat just for no reason whatsoever. He's like, very nice. So the thing about these episodes, what's good is we can do like 17, 20, 25 bold predictions. And if just one of them comes true, you know it out. Especially if you don't like us, we're going to clip that out and we're going to tweet that out and be just geniuses on social media.
No, we're not.
If any of the things I said is real, I'm absolutely going to be like, I said this like 6 months ago.
I swear, if the Sarlacc pit thing happens, I'm going to be like...
With Fennec Shand?
Anyone, just a Sarlacc pit.
Fennec Shand is getting her body dumped into the Sarlacc pit.
This is a good episode to fill up the comments with bold predictions so that you too can clip out your own time-stamped
I think we should do
comments.
We should do a bold prediction series or episode for every upcoming show at some point.
I like
this
that.
Was fun. But I feel like we have run its course.
We have. And thrown it into a Sarlacc pit.
Yeah. So, let us know, like James said in the comments, what your bold prediction is. Not like, Boba Fett's going to take his helmet off. Bold prediction. Get nutty.
Cad Bane's going to show up.
Yeah. Omega's going to show up.
Hey, the Mega.
I'm just kidding.
The Mega's the core of the story. I'm saying it's about family.
I'm kidding. Vin Diesel.
Jeez.
So, let us know in the comments. Quote tweet the episode on Twitter with your bold prediction of what's going to happen in the Book of Boba Fett. This way, you're timestamped. So if it does come true, you can go back to your tweet.
Say, you knew it.
Yeah.
Called it.
Instagram, wherever. Just hit us up and share the episode. We appreciate that. Anything else you guys want to talk about? We have about 4 minutes or so. 5 minutes.
I just Googled for fun, just right now, not before the show, the Book of Boba Fett predictions, and I went to images, and there's a Reddit post called Unlikely Cameo, Book of Boba Fett, and it's somebody used FaceApp to make old Kira.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know what their post is, but it's like...
Oh, jeez.
It would make sense, but I don't want it. I don't want it.
It looks like Marty McFly's mom.
Your Uncle
like
Joey didn't make bail
version. Again. that one, the alternate 85
sheet cake
version.
where she throws the sheet cake on the table.
Leia Thompson's old lady voice is the same old lady voice that Lacey does for old ladies.
Oh,
no, it's the one from...
You're talking 2015 version.
No,
where she's like,
no,
My Lady Proxima.
you sure do know how to hydrate a pizza.
Yeah, you're Lady Proxima, yeah.
Han? What are you doing, Han?
You sure don't. Yeah, you sure do know how to hydrate a pizza. That's right. Yeah. So I don't. I was watching that show actually. And someone DM'd us on Twitter about this. The movies that made us. I was watching like the Forrest Gump one.
I watched the Pretty Woman one.
I haven't seen that one yet. Forrest
It
Gump
was a
one was really
delight.
good. Yeah.
The Pretty Woman one, yeah. I started with that one because all the other ones are movies that Matt would want to watch. So I watched one that I thought he wouldn't want to watch. And we're watching it, and I was like, you know what? I bet Jason Alexander got Seinfeld through this movie. And Matt's like, no way. And then at the end, Jason Alexander was like, I got Seinfeld because I was in this movie. And I was like, ha ha ha.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I knew it.
I know David. Yeah, Larry David wanted someone who like was kind of like him. So I don't know if he knew someone
Gary
who made
Marshall
that movie.
suggested him to
There you go.
Larry David. Yeah.
All right, that's cool. Yeah, the Forrest Gump one was good. What was the other one I saw?
There's Jurassic Park, Back to the Future.
Jurassic Park.
Don't tell me. I can't wait to watch that one.
Oh my god! And I just started the Back to the Future one. Yeah, James, they have one on Back to the Future. It's pretty cool.
I watch a lot of those. Back to the Future is so full of history and all these Easter eggs and stuff. It's almost impossible to keep it all together. I'm surprised Elliot knows as much as he does.
He knows so much.
Yeah.
I've learned so much about that movie. He's built multiple. I think he's built 3. He has one.
Can he somehow hook me up with Herbie the Love Bug Volkswagen?
He probably could if you asked him to. He does. He does replica cars. He's done, I think, 3 Ford Explorers from the original Jurassic Park. He did a Jurassic Park Jeep. He did 2 Pizza Planet trucks from Toy Story.
I got to get a Herbie. Enough's enough.
He does it crazy. But the thing that he told me that I had no idea, he knows all the stuff about Back to the Future, but is that they basically ran out of money, and the whole clock tower scene was like they had a night to write it. They were like, you have no more budget. You only have this set. Figure it out. Because at the end of the movie, it was going to be this whole like nuclear bomb scenario or something, and they just ran out of budget. So the whole clock tower scene was written last minute to finish the movie.
That's
and
like
it's ultimately the
scene.
best scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it takes place in that one location because that's all they had. They were like, you have this and that's it.
Wow. Well, that worked out, I guess.
Yes.
But yeah, so someone, a listener of ours DM'd us and said, do you think they'll make one of those for Star Wars? I'm like, just watch Empire of Dreams. I didn't respond to him yet, but it's there's already so much about Star Wars. And, we talked about him, J.W. Rinsler, his books, it's all there. There's not too many surprises about the old Star Wars movies. Maybe if they do one about less production known about things, like The Force Awakens still has a lot of secrets about it, I think, because they didn't let Rinsler make the book, or he made the book but didn't put it out, and they didn't really do like too many documentaries about the making of, because Disney's protective,
I think they're doing 80s and 90s, it seems like. Nostalgic.
Yeah, so we'll see, but there's a lot. If you haven't, I'll have to DM him. Empire of Dreams it's on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to, like the original trilogy, like that's such an extensive, amazing documentary. But all right, so real quick before we get out of here, we obviously have to do a special thank you to our generals and our spice runners on Patreon. Carmelo, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, John Reese, Jetta Rosewater, Paul Olson, Jake Houchins, Oliver Lewis, Frank Grande, Haz Islam, Joe Ritchie, Darth Hurricane. Great job, by the way, in the pod race Monday, Mike. John Charlton, Nick Kratz, Christian Morales, Val Trichkoff. Thank you, generals, and our Spice Runners. We did our special Spice Runner episode with David Probus last week. Thank you, Dave, or last month. Thank you, David. Next up, Neil, buddy. I know you're busy, but Neil Shaw, thank you, buddy. Double C, Chris, Kendall Gelner, Ryan Wara, Dave Hornack, and Micah Harrison. Spice Runners, thank you. Thank you, generals. Thank you to all of our patrons for all of your support. Like James said at the top, $2 if you want to support what we do. It's just the 3 of us here. We're not backed. We're not millionaires. You keep us going. So we really appreciate it. If you're able to at all support the pod, we appreciate it very much. Most importantly, subscribe to the show on your preferred platform. It's free always. The episodes twice a week, whatever your audio preferred platform is. I'm a Spotify person myself. We have Apple, all the other ones, and of course YouTube, like we talked about before. StarWarsNewsNet.com for all of your Star Wars news, reviews, editorials, information, and more. Johnny Hoey on Twitter. Star Wars Newsnet, and my movie podcast, Just Like the Movies. Speaking of 80s and 90s movies. Lacey.
People can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lacey Gillerin.
James Bainey, Mr. Bold.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Myra Chunks and on the Bad Batch Reaction Show tomorrow morning.
And here's a not so bold prediction. We'll be back on Monday morning. Barring us getting thrown into a Sarlacc pit with another episode right here on the Resistance broadcast. So we'll see you around, kids.